Jennifer Ward-Lealand, who's our equity president. Jennifer's elected by the members every 2 years. So far the members haven't allowed her to stand down and take a break.
Or maybe no one's been foolish enough to actually stand for president.
Yes. I mean, you know Jennifer from the stage and screen, but you probably don't know that the position of equity president involves kind of hours and hours of work every week, and it's completely unpaid. So just want to say we're really lucky to have Jennifer as our president, because she's totally committed to improving performers' lives, and she does everything she can to, you know, advance performers' working conditions in New Zealand. Our vice presidents are also unpaid, and all our board members are too, and our National Performance Committee members, and you'll meet some of them today. Fasitua is on our board, Becky's on our National Performance Committee. So thank you, Jennifer. I'll hand over to you.
Tēnā koutou katoa, nau mai, haere mai ki tēnei whare, he pai ki te kita i a koutou. Kua tai mai nei ki te whakawhiti kōrero, ki te ako mō tēnei mea te uni ana, nō reira tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa. Kia ora everybody. Well, that was a lovely introduction, thank you, and I'm very pleased to have my fellow board member, fellow committee member here with me. So, look, this is hi Kelly, hi. Come on in. That's good. It's lovely to have. Each year this event gets bigger and bigger, and I think it's starting to be a really good thing on our calendar every year, because obviously as you go into the industry there's a lot of stuff you need to know, depending on what school you're at, and I think we've got people here from South Seas, have we? Yep, South Seas. We've got people here from the Actors Program. Yep, from MIT. Anyone from MIT? Hello, kia ora. Who else? We've got Unitec. Unitec, great, lovely. And any other schools I've missed out? Toi Whakaari? Toi, well done. Fantastic. And from? Excel, lovely. Well, welcome. I'm really pleased that you're here. You know, depending on how many people have come into your school in your final year, are you all in your final year? This is graduating, you're all in final year. Have come to talk to you about the business. You know, you may know a little, you may know a lot. So. Obviously we're going to talk, but we really invite lots of questions. No question is too silly. Believe me, if you're thinking of it, probably someone else is too. Also want to really let you know that your union, I know that we have a lot of members here. Actually, how many members have we got here already? Yeah, great, fantastic. Your union is your community, and you too, yeah. And you'll find that it is a really wonderful thing to be part of. You know, aside from the fact that we do a really great professional program through the Equity Foundation with workshops and classes, everything to upskill actors. Aside from that, we have these kind of events. We have green room events. We have places where actors can talk to actors, where it's not necessarily everyone else from the industry, but people who are walking the same path as you are, and there is a great comfort and a great camaraderie being alongside your fellow actors who, you know, of all stages and ages, and who've been through or are going through the stuff that you are. So in what is an inherently sometimes lonely life, being an actor, you go off in your little audition and then you go home and worry about it and hope you got the part or whatever. To be able to get together in a big group is a really, really fantastic thing. And I would encourage you all to have a good look at our website to see who your board and committee are, and to see some of the things that we're doing on behalf of you. Just off the top of my head, we've just recently had some negotiations with the casting directors, and that came purely out of our, Frank, I'm going to sit down now. Can you cope? Nice. Yeah, thank you. Is that a beautiful shot? Did you pan down? Nice. And those kind of things, why we go into bat for actors in a situation like that are because we will have had feedback from many, many members about horrible audition experiences. So we always go to the members, what do the members need, what is a big concern for the members. Often the list is this big, and we go, okay, well, what can we prioritise in the next year or 2 years or 3 years? Guidelines for casting directors and actors was a crucial one for our members, and so recently we've just about finished negotiating a document which is guidelines for casting directors for the, how do we describe it actually? What's the heading of it, Anna?
Casting guidelines.
Casting guidelines, yeah. Just to make sure that everyone is on the same page when you go into an audition. So those are the sort of things that when they're fully ratified, which will be probably in the next couple of weeks, will be on our website. So go forth and have a look at those things and educate yourself about what sort of things, what is good, what is right and what is wrong in an audition process. And I'll get to that in the rest of the talk, but in the meantime, can I just hand over to, well, just wondering how we sort of...
Yeah, because it's what
we're talking about sections, here, we're sort of speaking in sections about, I suppose, about coming out into the industry. That's our main kaupapa of today. What you can expect, what sort of etiquette, perhaps, for things like going to auditions. Yeah, and any questions that you have around that. So maybe I should just talk briefly about going to any theatre audition. And I'm talking about, say, for ATC or Silo or any of the other independent companies that are in this city. So for Auckland Theatre Company, you would, well, do all of you have agents yet? A bunch? Does anybody not have an agent yet? Okay. So really, your agent is going to be your best conduit to getting an audition for one of these companies, purely for the fact that usually theatre companies are quite a lean machine, and they don't really have the personnel to go out to every single, avenue to try and source actors. So usually a submission goes out from the theatre company to the from the theatre company to the agents, which is we are looking for this type of person with these type of skills. Who are you going to submit? And then the agency put forward the people on their books that they think would fall into that category. And then between that phase and getting audition, sometimes the theatre companies cull people out. I think that's just a reality. They might look at the photo and go, well, that's not going to write. They might be balancing various people up in the cast, and so they know that X is not going to suit being the husband of Y or whatever. So after that, you get called for an audition. And is it useful to talk about audition prep? That's good? Okay, so obviously you want to be, well, hopefully you will have had the script a decent time ahead of your audition. You want to be well on top of that. You want to show, and I say this because I've just been sitting on an audition panel, you want to show that you can be directable. That's really what people want to see. That you go in, obviously, with how you've rehearsed it, and then if they ask you to turn it completely on its head and do something completely different, which is not to say what you did was wrong, but they really want to see that you can change, that you can take on the direction, throw out completely what you did before, and come up with something new. And then they think, the director or whoever's auditioning you goes, okay, that person is flexible, I can work with them, they've got the skills to change. So that's really crucial. I would like to say that the theatre companies always get back in touch with you when you don't get the role. Unfortunately, that is not true. I think agents are getting better at following through on that and letting you know, but they can also be a little protracted. They can take sort of often weeks longer than, say, if you're casting for something for screen, because they might not have found the right person, or one crucial person in the cast changes, and that changes the dynamic of everything else. If you're going in to sing, are any of you singers? I'm sure, okay, anyway, even if you're, sometimes actors are going in for musicals anyway, and they're not necessarily musical theatre performers, but you really want to make sure that you are, if you have a piece of music for your pianist, it's in the right key. This is crucial stuff, okay? You will absolutely annoy people in the rehearsal room, in the audition room, if you don't do these. You want to make sure your music is in exactly the right key, that if it's a long piece of music and you're not doing the entire song, that you cut it down to the right length. So if you've got a friend or a family member or anyone you know who's particularly musical who can help you out with that kind of thing, really, ask them for help. And also that your piece of music is not in a whole lot of separate pieces, but is taped together. I know this sounds nitty-gritty, but really it's the sort of thing that the musical director, who might be the person who's musically directing the show, will go, how am I supposed to play this? Can you imagine having 10 pieces of paper, trying to line them up on a piano, and you've never seen the music before and you have to play that? So you want to tape your, so there's your bit of paper, like that. You want to go tape, 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 tape on either side. Does that make sense? So that it's lying out? Yeah, both sides. And exactly in the right key, and that you have rehearsed it with the actual piano music, not just on YouTube, not just copied someone off a thing off YouTube. So really know what you're doing. If you're going in for a singing audition, really, really prepare. Have I left anything else out? No. I know that one of our actor program alumni, Oscar, is taking dance class, Dance for Actors, and some of the actors program people might be able to tell you a little more about that, but that's a nice thing for those of you who perhaps aren't confident movers to go along. I think he does them every Sunday.
Sunday 5 o'clock.
Sunday 5 o'clock.
So good.
So great.
Yeah.
Just actors, it's just Dance for Actors. So it's not a whole, you won't be there with a whole lot of
nothing like super
actual
hard out.
dancers. Yeah.
There's a
So
couple
you
good dancers in the gang, but we don't look at them. We just
Yeah,
try
yeah,
and
yes,
figure
right.
out.
Don't look at them. Just
Yeah.
look at the people who can't dance.
Block them out. And
Yeah. So, I'm just thinking, it's a matter of, when you come out of a school, you're really in tune with the group around you. You've worked together a lot. You're kind of in your own little theatre company, aren't you? That's a kind of cool thing about being in a school, because in the old days, we used to come out of drama school and be lucky enough to be in an actual theatre company. Those days are gone. So your drama school is kind of your gang. They're your company, and they're often who you're going to be working with in the future. So you suddenly go from that school thing being really stretched and a lot asked of you every day, and you're right in the thick of it, to being out of school. And then what? There's no classes, there's no kind of structure. How do you keep yourself, keep that buzz, that bubble of energy, and that kind of discipline that you have to have at a drama school? How do you keep that going? So it's things like doing your dance classes, doing some singing with a group of people, doing some script readings. Are there a whole lot of plays you know are famous but you don't know about them? Get together with your little group and do those kind of things to keep your muscles oiled. I feel like I've just talked non-stop for the last 6 minutes, so I'm going to hand over to Fuzzy.
Yeah, well, this is a good time for me to come in. I mean, you guys are living in a time now where there's a lot that you can do for yourselves, and it's becoming very apparent that the onus is on you. And like Jennifer said, you're in class when you're at a school, but when you come out, you leave that class environment and you are on your own. You really are on your own. And your classmate is someone you might be competing with for a role, and you might come up against this. Everyone, like, we used to joke about who's your nemesis, just trying to find who your nemesis is.
Like who's always getting
who's always in the audition room with you and always gets the role, who always turns up at every audition that you're at, and it's
Robbie,
like, yeah, it's
Robbie
both Mangasevas. I've come to terms with that. But now, there's stuff now you could do, because, I mean, the old story was, when you leave drama school, everyone just sat by the phone and waited. That was the old phrase, just sit by the phone and wait. Now, that's still an option, but it seems like today, you guys have more options to keep busy. Now, one of the things that Raymond Hawthorne said to me when I left drama school was like, just got to keep busy. And I didn't understand what he meant by that. It's like, I can busy myself playing Xbox. I can busy myself with lots of things. What do you mean by keeping busy? Staying occupied. And what Jennifer was pointing at, there are things now that you can do. If you're not a very good mover, then consider taking a dance class. Like in every other country in the world that has professional actors, that's what they do. Like they go to class, but they have these things set up where they go and like do a scene group or do a dance class or take a singing lesson. If there's any aspect of you as a performer that you feel is lacking or could do with strengthening up, then go and seek the help. That's the kind of busyness I think that I'm talking about. Like keep busy, like keep reading scripts, because the more you read scripts
out loud
more,
too. So if you're not good at cold reading, you know what cold reading is? Reading for the first time.
Yeah, read scripts, and the more good scripts you read, the more you get to know what a good script reads like. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you get to analyze scripts. I mean, there are some actors who still don't know how to analyze a script, or script analysis is something that maybe they didn't quite pick up very well at school, and just by reading scripts and working with people that you go, hey, look, why don't we jam this scene out? You start to learn about what good writing feels like, what good writing sounds like when it comes out of your mouth, versus average writing. And then you kind of go, you know, it's one thing to know it intellectually, it's another thing to know it because you've done it. Some of us have the luxury of having actually done, or, you know, being in casts where we get to do good scripts. And that's, you know, that adds to your experience. But if you don't have that luxury, then you have to create it for yourself. And then that's sort of, I mean, the onus is on you to do that. It's not the industry's job to give you a job. It's the thing that you can control in the industry. And that's the thing a lot of things actors have felt the most when they come out of school, is that I don't feel empowered. I don't know what I can do to affect the outcome of, you know, I can't go to SPP and go, John, give me a job. I can't go to the producers and go, hey, what's up? Like, give me a job. Like, that's just like, you know, we always go, what can we do? Well, you can work on yourself. And all that downtime, downtime is time for you to work on yourself. That's time for you to take a singing lesson, look for the, you know, like, and there's people here like Cherie, like there's people that teach singing. If you think that that's the thing that you want to strengthen up, do it. And there's nothing more empowering than doing something like that and taking a class. You know, if you think that your body's not in the place that you want it to be, then that's something you can do as well. Going to the gym is part of our job. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can make it part of your job if that's what you want. And so I guess another part of it is, like, I was here to talk about voice work and getting into voiceovers. I think is that's another aspect as well that you can explore. It's funny because people, when I say to people, oh, you should, like, do you have a voiceover? Do you do any voice work? A lot of actors go, oh, nah, I don't really think I've got a good voice. Which is always weird when I hear that, because that's almost like saying, I'm not going to that audition because I don't rate my face. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a weird thing. We all have a voice, and we all have, everyone's voice have different characteristics, and there's no reason why you can't use that voice to make, you know, money, because we are performers, so we use our body, our voices, in the way that we want to, you know, and to work, you know, because we're professionals. So I really do encourage everyone to get into voice work. I mean, it's the best job. I mean, that's what 95% of my income comes through voice work these days. I mean, I narrate a docu-series. I'm the voice of Mitre 10 and Mitre 10 Mega. I narrated a factual show on TV, one called Code 1, which is about the Westpac rescue helicopter. Just recently did a doco on the All Black jersey that has been playing around Sky Sports, around the World Cup, and various other things. If you ever caught the train, I'm the guy that tells you when to get off. Push the green button to open the door, all that sort of stuff, and several other public service announcements. So it's a really cushy job, because the voice work is, I guess, the best, because you get to remain anonymous. So the way you look doesn't factor into whether you get a job or not, which, you know, affects so much of our work we do, whether it was theatre or especially screen. The way you look is almost, you know, a big part of that. So what do you need to do to get into voice work? Well, you need a voice agent. If you're with Johnson Laird, they have a voice department, so just hit them up.
And sometimes they will let you record some existing scripts that have been done by somebody else. So they make a little, like a voice reel.
Yeah, so you need an agent and you need a demo. Those are the two things that you need. So if your agent doesn't have a voice department that you can tap into, then you need to Google voice agents. I think so. We've got JLM as a voice agent. We've got Big Mouth. I'm not sure Piranhas. Word of Mouth. Yeah. That's who I started out with. So you need to find an agent, and then, so in the same way that you find any other agent, ring them up, see if you can set up a meeting. If they go, yeah, cool, they will say you need a demo. Now, this is where you have to get ready to part with some cash. Now, demos these days cost around about $150. There was $150 when I did my one, which is a lot of money when you're not really earning that much. But a voiceover, the shortest voiceover you'll ever record is a 15-second, pays around about $200. So your very first voice job will pay that back, you know, if you look at it that way. And for a demo, obviously it's a demo that you want to showcase your voice, so you want to get some scripts. Now, when I did mine, I think this is still the case, you might not have access to actual radio and, you know, TV commercial scripts unless you have a friend that works at an ad agency. Yeah. Maybe they can get you some old ones, you know, like stuff like high like retail stuff because they're churning over ads all the time. They never use the same ad, so maybe your friend can do you a solid and get you like a script. Otherwise, failing that, what I did is that I went through the newspaper and I cut out the warehouse ad.
Harvey Norman or something?
Yeah, so go through, find a selection of ads, and on top of that I watched TV and I recorded some ads and I just literally transcribed the script.
YouTube has compilations of old commercials, and that's what I did. I just went back to ones from 1998 and stole them.
Yeah, and so just all you need is the text. That's all you need is the text. And so when you book your session, like say, for example, you've rung up, oh, that's the other thing, who records a demo? Now, if you have a mate that does sound recording, use them. If not, this is where I said that the $150 normally comes in is to pay for a sound engineer an hour to go record your thing at a studio. The best thing about that is the sound engineer does this for, like he turns out ads all year.
Yeah.
So they can direct you, and that's the biggest part of it, is they can direct you into the areas that you need to sort of sound like, because there are, there are different types of ads. Now, if you do something like the warehouse or something what we call retail, so retail ad is anything like Mitre 10, warehouse, Noel Leeming. These are the things that sell people products, right? So there's a retail voice that we talk about. It's like, where it's warm, smiley, and really excited. You're really excited. Now, the level of excitement is dictated by the person, like the client, right? So if you look at, like, say, Noel Leeming, that guy is super excited about those products, and he's like, on crack going 100 miles an hour. That's hard retail, right? So you got that end of the spectrum, and then you come down to something like the warehouse, or what I did for Mitre 10, which is a lot more pulled back. Still happy, but not like whoa, like timber. It's not. And if you now listen to some ads, the warehouse stationery for a while was really over the top, and it's the weird thing that you have to be so super excited about 1B5 notebooks. Do you know what I mean? And that's retail, and that's the gig. The other type of voice that you might have to do is like a factual voice, which is completely different to hard retail. Factual is when you're like the guy next door, you're warm and friendly, but you need to sound more like a journalist for that sort of thing. So what I mean by that is, so in a retail thing, you might be like, whereas in a factual thing, you are a lot more warmer, more authoritative, and you employ what they call the two-word emphasis, and that's when you emphasize the last two words.
Well, I do pay your fines or pay the price. That's it.
Yeah, and so it's really sort of authoritative. So if you have those those qualities, then you need to find scripts that you think will emphasize that. So for my demo that I did, I found an organic vegetable ad that was in the papers, like organic vegetables. So good for you. So things like that, like something that for me felt like more like warm and kind of down and not really up. And then if you don't fall into any of those categories, like you most probably get the character friend voice, which is a lot of stuff. You heard it on the radio all the time. Like, hey man, where are you going? I'm going here. It's like two guys in a car going to McDonald's and like, oh, I'm really hungry. Those little scenarios that they have. That's also a thing. And when you get paid for those, you get paid like you've done the whole ad. A lot of the work that I got early on was doing the tagline, like state insurance, here for you, and you get paid for 15 seconds and you've only done the tagline, that's what's the awesome thing about voiceovers. And then on that ad, they had it in 10 different regions, so I had to like state insurance, like driver survivor, and I just said, I recorded that bit, and it went, live in, Palmerston North, Auckland, and you get paid 10 times for the same ad, if you're looking at about $200 for 15 seconds, you just make $2,000 in a morning. Do you know what I mean? And who doesn't want, who can't do with $2,000 in a morning, or who can't do with an extra $200 every now and then? And the great thing about once you get your demo down, so you've gone to the studio, the engineer's gone, okay, sweet, what ads you've got? I've got this. They'll go, so that's retail, you've got a little doco thing there, okay, cool, and the character thing there, sweet. Can you do accents? Can you do one in an accent, the ones that put all those down on your demo. He'll cut it all up for you. You get a CD or maybe just a file these days, and then that goes, to your voice agent, who basically just has it up on the website. And the great thing about this is, it's like, I always liken it to like fishing. Like, once you have your demo and it's online, it just dangles there. It just hangs there. You don't have to do anything more. It's there. the client goes in, listens to it, hey, I like that, or oh, I like these 5, I can't decide, and you might have to go in and read an actual script for a client, an audition. But most of the time, because it's the fast nature of especially commercial work, they'll go, I like that voice, cool, just get them in, they can do it, and you're in. And so every now and then you might get, you know, like a couple of voiceovers a month, which is like, you know, an extra $400 just out of nowhere, you know, in like 15 minutes you'll be in the booth. Getting it, you know, so it's, or if you're more fortunate like me, you'll get more, you know, like, and so it's a really good avenue to look at, like, and I encourage you guys to, you know, to do it. It's because it's...
You will have a career in this country if you can be versatile.
Yeah.
That's the reality. You need to be able to dip into all these different things. MCing, for instance, I'll just briefly talk about that. So, if you've never done MCing before, like, the first MCing job I did, somebody asked me to do it, and my first one was, oh, I don't know, I'm not an MC. And then I thought, well, I'll just act like an MC. So I just did it. So that's what I often do, fake it, literally fake it. I'm an actor, I'm going to act like an MC. So you do it, and then you get a bit of practice, and then somebody might see you do that, and they think, oh, well, ask Jennifer to do that job. And so you can, you know, if you want to practice that sort of stuff, and you've got a local primary school or something, say, hey, would you like me to MC your end of year prize giving? Or if you've got a relationship with you know, somebody who's around a fundraiser or something like that, put yourself forward and see if you can practice doing those kind of things to get yourself the experience of being able to stand up in front of a group of people and MC, which basically means being organised. You know, organising this, who's coming on, how long they're speaking, you know, to come in straight away after they've spoken, all of that sort of stuff. That's something you can do. Yeah,
I mean, and like the more I think about it, is there's so much we can do in the meantime.
Yeah.
And it's like kicking rocks, you know. I'm not sure if you ever kicked a rock on the way home from school, but if you kick a rock, suddenly you're home, and you're like, I can't even remember walking home. Yes. But because you're focused on just kicking the rock and make sure that, like, those are the little things. So when, you know, we could do our own version of kicking rocks. We can, like, you know, what is it that you need to work on? If you don't have a good American accent, that's a rock you can be kicking.
Every day.
In between the jobs. What's you know, you know, everything that you do, any skill that you can work on makes you more versatile, and it gives you a better chance every time you go in. Like, you know,
have them. We all have them. We all have things that we can do. We're pretty clever at.
Yeah, there's some people who go, man, I'd love to audition for that ATC show. I was like, well, how'd you say not so good? I was like, well, if you get it closer, then you're at least you're in the ballpark. And next time, at least get in the ballpark. Next time, you're like, you know, a bit closer and a bit closer. And so these little things that we can do to not only keep ourselves occupied, upskill, and also it's about the feeling. It gives you more confidence, and then that in itself attracts more things that you can do. And so it's there's no real excuse to be sitting back anymore. Like, you know, there's only a very a smidgen of people who will just sail in and look like, you know, might luck out and find the thing that they are good at, and the industry might go, yes, we're looking for that, and you are perfect. Those are the 1 in a million people. But for the rest of, you know, for everyone else, we can create a career. This is what is a sustainable career by doing all these little things that you're in control of. And that's the great thing, you're in control of it. You want to start a YouTube channel? Go for it. This is where in the age that you want to, if you feel like I need a boost in my profile, then you can actually you can work on it. You can go, I can make an Instagram channel and I'll boost my profile that way. That is a thing that's in your hands that you can do. And only, you know, if you want to do it, it's right there. There's nothing stopping you from doing these things.
Create your own work as well. Don't just, you know, wait for the work to come to you. Create your own work. There's so many festivals. You can do theatre shows. You go. A good chunk of you already have agents. Who's been to a commercial audition before? Yes, you know what they're about. You're in the room for about 25 seconds and it's really freaky and whatever else. But a lot of people look at commercials like they're good money. And I think that's the way that we should look at them for the most part. They're good money. A lot of the time it's not your acting skill that's going to get you, it's not going to get you in the door, and it's not going to get you the job 9 times out of 10. It's, you know, how you look standing next to the other guy, because yeah, you guys can work together, yeah, great. Commercials are good like that. One thing I have learnt through doing 5 years worth of commercial auditions and coming out of them going, I'm a terrible actor, is that you have to disengage from them. I look at them now as an opportunity to get into the room, to get in front of the casting directors, to have fun, to learn how to audition. And then you get out of there, and then you don't think about it. And I think especially coming out of drama school, where you guys are learning how to act, and you guys are really passionate about it. If you go into a commercial like I did, I went into commercials going, oh my gosh, I'm an actor, I'm about to audition for a commercial, this is great, and then you don't get it, and then you're heartbroken. I think just think of them as a paycheck. You know, they're good. I mean, most of them, the ones that you go forward for that are paying $1,500, which of course no one's going to say no to that, but you know, those little ones like that, it's a little bit of fun, it's an opportunity to just create, and maybe it's just a little bit of paycheck.
I remember you, and I remember you for something else. So think of all of that as a real opportunity to get in front of people. And again, just coming back to the whole thing of being versatile, being able to do voiceovers, being able to do other things, being able to teach, for instance. You might want to start flexing your muscles in that area, being able to, you know, start with a small group of I don't know, intermediate school kids or something. You know, you're going to come out with some kind of qualification from your drama school. So you might want to use that. So I'd say a year for me is made up of theatre, it's made up of shows I produce myself, it's made up of teaching, it's made up of emceeing, it's made up of voiceovers, a little bit of screen work, a web series. So that's what can happen in a year. But you know, you just kind of start getting practiced in all of those areas.
I'd say that I would say that this industry is very kind to the people who get involved and hang around. And I want to say hang around is like who own it for the long term.
Yeah.
And the get involved is probably the biggest thing. Of all my class that graduated from drama school, there's probably a handful of us that are still going here in New Zealand, and some are working in like Australia now. And we're the ones that would be here at the silo, as the silo, sweeping the floors, like get involved with the theatre. Put yourself in there, get in the way of those people, and go, how do I come and play with you guys? You know, like
Come to the green room.
Come to the green rooms. There's Young and Hungry, the programs like that. ATC have next big things, like the annual thing for new and up and comers. Like if you don't get yourself involved there, and I know so many people who come to the auditions that Lynn remembers. Like Lynn's got a photographic memory. Like you know, she'll just remember people who may not necessarily have gotten in, you know, selected, but she'll remember people by the way they auditioned, by how they hung out with people. So there's, you know,
Yeah.
if you don't get involved, then don't expect to be rewarded. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and
If there's anything you can do at the Auckland Theatre to help out at the Auckland Theatre Awards, short and sweet, all of those short and sweet things. There's so many opportunities.
there's so many opportunities to get involved and to participate, and that should be taking all those opportunities. Now, at the same time, some of those things might not pay, you know, like, and you expect to not be working, you know, I mean, my first paycheck was $350 a week. It was like, yeah, I get $350 a week to act. It was really awesome. So, and when you're starting out, and it's different for boys and girls. For dudes, if you're not heartthrob 16-year-old, they either go, the roles either be for like teens and then late 20s, 30s. So boys, men. In that in-between bit, it's like, yeah, you know, it's like, you know, if you even think about it, what's the most popular thing? Friends was about a bunch of 30-year-olds, and a lot of stories are either about grown-ups or people who are growing up, but the 20 to 30 is a really weird age that is like, oh, you're kind of too old because you're not really teen, but you're not really a man yet, you know, like you're too young for dad, but you're definitely too old for teen, and so you're just in limbo for a bit, you know. There's a lot of stories. If you look at you go watch, you know, New Zealand TV, like look at who the roles are being written for, and then go, you know, like that's are the stories that people like to write about and people like to tell. So if you're a guy, you might find that, like me, like so many of my friends, like the 20s were hell. It was like we didn't work for like 5 years, like well, paid work anyway. 5 to 7 years, like, what do we do? It's like, yeah, because every time, like, you know, oh, I was with an audition, like, I was told I was too young, and the next audition I was told I was too old, and it's like, oh, you know, like, but once you sort of settle into an age, some people really start blossoming from their late 20s and their 30s, you know, like, things didn't really kick off for me really until I was 30, you know, like, when I get out of drama school, 21. Very first big TV role straight out of drama school was playing a 30-year-old, do you know what I mean? Like, because I just looked older, that's just how I am, I come across older than I really am. So yeah, I was 21 when playing a 30-year-old. So I was like, that kind of gave me a clue as to what's going to happen in the future. You know what I mean? It's like I'm kind of stuck in this kind of thing. Like, so I'm not teenage heartthrob. Like I'm just.
I'm a granny.
Yeah.
I'm a granny.
So in between.
At 38-year-old, you know, 38, you're a mother of a 27-year-old. That for women, that's the.
weird reality.
But in terms of keeping busy, so as well as working on yourself, getting involved in the community that you get involved, you know, participating with the industry that you want to be in, you still got to work. So there's all that juggling things. So, you know, I work for Van to build stickers, putting up posters on the weekends.
Join Action Actors.
Or yeah,
Action Actors, temp work.
Some temp work there. So you find your own way to, you know, pay your bills because you have to. That's just what has to be done until you. The great thing about that is when you do a job you really don't want to do, it really sharpens your mind. It really makes it clear in your mind what it is that you want to do. And when you're clear in your mind and what you want to do, you find when you're putting up that poster and it's raining, you're like, where would I rather be right now? It starts giving you ideas, and when you get home, you start actioning those things because you want to stay away from that. So that's the blessing of doing those things. Standing around giving around Cadbury's chocolate. Oh, what's the worst one?
I do data entry like a bloody monkey for like weeks on end. And when you're sitting there and it's 3 p.m. you've been at it since 9 in the morning, you start to really appreciate it.
I was dressed as an elf. The costume that was given to me was a size too small, and I'd split the seams with the shoes and the hat, and singing Christmas carols on Queen Street. Do you know, it was we're getting $50 an hour, and that was awesome. It was we work 3 hours a day, so that's $150 a day. It's coming to Christmas, so that was cool. That was we were balling. But what you had to do for that was
sell your soul.
And it even had the jaggedy thing. It was a bit too short, and it was do you know what I mean? So you got to do what you got to do until you fall into the thing. Some people might find that if you participate with it long enough, you find where you're good at. You'll find areas that you go, actually, you know what? I thought I was really into this, but this is, this area of the industry is really working for me, and I really love this, and and that in itself sort of self-perpetuates more opportunities and stuff. But you hang around, is what I'd say, to stay busy.
Yeah, get in there. People remember that, they really do. Any other questions? Hello.
What do you look for when you're looking at talent agencies?
When you're seeking an agent?
Yeah.
You want to know what they're going to do. I think it's worthwhile having a look on who they've got on their books. I think that's a really good thing. That's very easy to see. So if you know what kind of people they're representing, and if those people are getting work. Generally, the agents want to know that they can get you work. For instance, if they've already got 5 young women who have a similar look and feel to you, they want to be able to give all of those people work, and that might be a reason why you wouldn't get the agent, because they go, well, we've already got X number of people of your type, and it's not fair, we won't be able to service all of you. But you obviously want to have a good relationship with them. You want to really know what you're signing to. You want to educate yourself on all of that kind of stuff. Don't sign anything straight away. Make sure that you know what, if you were unhappy with the agency, what it would mean if you left. Be very, very clear about that.
Sometimes get penalised.
You can get penalised, and you can get into very tricky situations where, say you've got an ad with one particular agency, you want to leave the agency, that work still stays with the first agency. So even if that work rolled over and rolled over and rolled over, that initial agency that got you the job, got you the audition, would be taking their fee from it. So you've got to be very, very clear about what it means if you leave somewhere. Remember that it's a two-way thing. You're not auditioning for them. They're also auditioning for you, because without actors, they don't have a business. So it's just, remember that you are an equal part of that process, and you have to have a good and honest and very clear relationship. Ask what they expect of you, and then you make sure that you go in there knowing what you would expect of them. So ask around a few people. Do you want to, they might not be an agency, for instance, who's particularly focused on theatre, and you want to get theatre opportunities. I know I've heard a lot of those stories on my agent. I never even heard about them. I'm going, well, maybe you need to say to your agent, I really want to be put in front of as many theatre directors as I possibly can be. Because as Fasi was saying before, don't close yourself off to any work. Work is work. Work of all types. We don't have the luxury of saying no to anything. If they don't have a voice department themselves, you check out that they know that you are perhaps with another voice, that you're going to approach a voice agent. Keep everything really above board and honest and clear, but go on with expectations. And like by coming today, you're making a commitment to your professionalism, and that's what all of the stuff we've been saying sort of synthesizes down to that. What are you going to do? What do you need to do to take care to develop your professionalism? If you've made a commitment to be an actor, that's your heartfelt desire to be an actor. That is an honourable and a wonderful industry to be in. It's a wonderful profession. You're not playing at it, it's a profession. So everything that we're talking about today is how to support your building of that profession. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Just a note, if you do get a voice agent that's separate from your acting agent, then your scheduling better be on point. Like mine was terrible. Like that's why I was so glad when I went to Emmy that she had a department, because it's like, you guys tell me when I need to be somewhere, because I'm so bad at scheduling that I've so many double booked so many things.
Right.
That I was like, actually, I'm not available for that voiceover, and you disappoint so many people, and then they remember that disappointment and attach it to your face.
Yes, it's very true. That's very true, and that can happen too with theatre and filming. Really make sure before you commit yourself to something that you are able to fulfil that thing that you are committing yourself to.
I have a director who still doesn't talk to me because I double booked something. This 10 years ago that it happened when I was your guys' agent. I just got out and I went, holy crap, I can't actually do both things. Like, what was I thinking?
What were you thinking?
Well, because I thought it was 2 jobs. And I was like, cool, I can do them. But then I was like, wait a second, that week I forgot about production week.
Oh, which you can't leave the theatre.
You can't leave the theatre, but that was like the second to last week at their rehearsal. I thought, no, it all works out because that season's there and this season's there. I totally forgot about production week, which joins the two, and I can't leave the thing here, but that was crucial for that thing there. And it was like, I can't do it. That was like terrible scheduling. And then, so she's still, like, I see her around, I still see her around, it's still like, what's over there? You know, like it was 10 years ago.
Over
10 years ago.
It's a small industry, and unfortunately, you can't really upset people. So just kind of, I think, just like being professional and not double booking, but also not saying anything crap and all that kind of stuff.
If you know you're going to be the lead up to opening a show, you're going to be pretty well at the theatre. Yeah. You better be booking stuff pre 8 a.m. Basically, is the only time you'll be able to use that time in that week. Not necessarily always leaving it up to the agent to sort it out. Just be aware of your schedules and what conflicts might come up. We've got time for another probably 1 or 2 questions. Anything at all? Yes.
Next to having your agent, it's always okay to try and find your own work, right? So the agent couldn't.
Well, now that's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. So, unless you have made an agreement with your agent that you will represent yourself on certain things, the job must go through the agency. So, for instance, when I was with one agent for 23 years and then another agent for the last 10 years, when I went to that new agent, because all the theatre work was coming to me anyway, it never went through the agency, that was an agreement that I would negotiate all my own work. And also anything that I had set up with emceeing jobs that rolled over year after year. However, there is a point where I'd go, you know what, I don't want to organise that emceeing job anymore. I will hand it to the agent. So I've given them stuff, so it's kind of a quid pro quo. But don't think you can go out and necessarily source work that in any other event they would normally get a percentage of. Particularly screen work. I think it's good to... Yeah, just be very careful about that you make sure, that's apropos of your question too, that you have a very clear statement in your contract about what you will represent yourself on and what you won't. Now, I probably had a bit more, pull as a performer to be able to say that. as perhaps someone starting out, because generally anyone starting out in theatre would go through their agent. But it's got to be a really mutual trust thing between you and the agent, so you never want to feel like you're going behind their back. In fact, your instincts will tell you, if you're going, oh, I hope they don't find out, or I don't want them to know, that's generally when they should know. Would you?
Yeah, and anything you do, like anything screen, like if you get together with your mates and make a web series or something, it's always good to run these things past them, because what your agent does that you may not know is that they're the ones that spend all the day reading through the fine print of things that could catch you out or things that will work against you. Now, unless you're the sort of person that likes to read, you know, clause B15S, then it's best to leave that with them, because then they'll cover those things, and you know, because it's in their interest to make sure that you're protected, because it's you know, they're working for you and you're working for them, you know, so it's in everyone's best interest. So like if you're doing anything, like any web series or anything, always it's good to run it past them, just so that they go, because agents now are getting really good at it. What is it? Oh, it's just a thing with me and my mates. Okay, well then that's fine. Or what is it? Oh, there could be some money. Oh,
yeah.
There could be some money. Let's structure the thing so there's no money up front. Promise the money later. Cool. Let's write that and make that official, so that it's all on board. So they're on side. They know if anything happens, they're onto it. Like if you start doing these things yourself, you could be opening yourself up to a whole world of trouble.
Look, we've had this. This happens in the office. We get calls to the office where somebody has just thought that it was going to be okay. Well, it just ends up not being okay, and they're not protected.
Yeah, and it happens in theatre too. You go, hey, let's make a show down in the basement. What do we do here? So we split the profits. Okay, cool. Then you go to, you know, like you don't make an agreement up front. It's a really weird thing, and I know it's really odd to go, hey, let's sign this contract. And Equity have got templates that you can use
on our side
to make it all like legit, and it's all like everyone's on the same page. Because you know, what if you get to like, hey, it's $100. Okay, let's split it. It's like, how do we split it? Well, we're going to split it like 5 ways. Like, yeah, but bro, I did more work. You know, we know the time that you had to go to work, and then I covered that thing, and then I ended up making the poster. Remember that? And then I ended up writing the script. Remember that? Like, and then it's like, yeah, but we said we'll split it. I was like, yeah, but actually, we should be split on. And then you get into a whole world of pain. So, well, if you're doing that, well, I'm going to say that, you know, the time that you know, like, then it falls apart.
Upfront is good. Upfront and clear is good.
So a lot of the stuff that I just
not to say you can't go off and make your own web series with your mates.
Yeah.
But when it starts getting into that next level, and of course we all know web series are getting funded now. There's an actual web series fund that comes out of New Zealand On Air specifically for series, because they know that's another platform. You know, we can't look at it as just TV and web anymore. They often have the.
I'd say if you're starting, make it easy on yourself, run it through your agent, and it is all like above board legit. And if you hang around long enough, you might start reading your contract and going.
But on that note, your agent
know?
needs to know what you're doing, because they're also on the phone promoting you. They're trying to get you in the room. So if they're saying, oh, hey, she's doing this, you know, web series at the moment, she's just done this thing with her friends, and you should watch it. Here it is. Yeah. Then you should know what you're doing, and they want to put it on your CV as well.
Yeah,
so
and that's right. And then you've got to have something for a show reel.
And plus they're like, oh, this person's working, this person's active all the time. I want to get them into more auditions. I think they'd be great for this. So agent always needs to know.
Yeah.
So you guys are talking about.
Oh yeah, we had it. Sorry, it was just first, and then you.
I think the big issue is conversion, because it involves brand. Because sometimes people see advertising sign out to do a commercial, and the problem of commercial, if you're doing a commercial using sign out, your agent cannot sub your profile to Vodafone, the telecom.
That's true. That's true.
Why? Because you sign like a Dodge agreement with commercial. So commercial is a product, represent the product. I said advertise like, oh, earn like a $3,000 for a commercial. You don't want a $3,000 a day. You want a $3,000 because you're going to expose your image for 1 year worldwide, not in New Zealand.
That's right.
Australia.
Yes.
You know, all those information the agent to check to see if it's a good deal or not good deal. You know, if it's a worldwide beer, alcohol, should be $10,000. $15,000, $20,000.
Yeah. What a good agent would do in this sort of scenario is, for instance, I did the BNZ for a year and a half. They basically had to buy me out for that year and a half so that I did no other financial institutions. That's because you're the BNZ voice. So essentially.
Well, here's a good one that catches out, especially like people just at a drama school, like, hey, just come and do this, be an extra in this ad, like for this band. All you got to do is just like, you know, just stand around or like, look, and then suddenly you're on their ad and you're the face of it.
3 years ago, I did
and then you're counted out from other stuff.
You can't even see me, and I still can't go for ASB, you know, whatever. So.
Right, yeah.
Ruthless.
So just one last question, then we need to finish.
I was just going to ask you, about the money side and being really above board with your agent. When you're making work with your mates, and As you know, if you go, oh, that was really successful, let's make another season, but that person isn't really part of it, but they script or whatever.
Yes.
Will your agent actually work with you for that ownership of rights side of it? Or
Probably not if it's not to do with, that's kind of intellectual property, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
Yes,
that will
that'd
fall
be
under
what,
the
Writers Guild or,
yeah,
I don't
or
know.
the company itself. So the company makes, you know, like so the agent will represent like the actors on, you know, look after that. So, but in terms of the ownership rights, that's something that the production company, even if it's just you and your mates, will have to suss out.
That's why it's kind of good to get those what if scenarios sorted out right at the beginning. What if this did incredibly well and it was...
Yeah, and there are templates for these kind of contracts. So you'll see, so what you're really saying is a contract issue that needs to be sort of stipulated up front, which will include those who owns this, you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 own it, cool. What happens if one leaves? You know, that stuff should all be discussed between you and your mates. Yeah.
So that's the end of this panel for now. We've got another panel coming straight in on. Yeah, lovely. So I hope that was useful for you all. It's been lovely being here, and I will see you a little later for the green room.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.